Hey guys, so really excited for this month's wrap up and TBR. This will be August wrap up, September TBR. Gonna try to go a little bit faster than I did last month because I took too long and ended up having to split that video in two. So real quick run over on what we had on the TBR for last month, which was August. I'll put that video, I'll link it up if you want to watch that video. So Arcanium Unbounded, I'm currently in the middle of it. I have it right here, borrowed it from the library, but I also have it on the Kindle. So I've got a few stories left to finish in this one. Hopefully tonight I'll finish Sixth of Dusk and maybe Mistborn Secret History. Then all I have left is the 11th Metal, Alamancer Jack in the Pits of Elantia, Hope of Elantris, and that's it. So that will be pretty much everything in the Cosmere read if I finish these up in the next few days or so. But this has to go back to the library really, really soon, so I'm going to try to prioritize this first of the month. But I got a bunch of them done. So, and then I had the Berserk manga. I found the deluxe edition. I am almost done. Should finish that as well tonight. We have maybe 50, 60 pages left. And on a graphic novel, you can knock that out pretty easily. Really, really enjoying it. It is not for children at all in any kind of way, though. Do not let children read this. Mort was good. I will have a review up of that soon. I'm not sure exactly when. I've recorded it, and it's on my computer. I just need to edit and get it out. Mort was cool. It was a book about after the ants rose up, a cat named Mort is looking for his best friend, Sheila, who is a dog. Mort was a hero in the war to destroy the humans, and now he's trying to go back to normal life and find his friend. The Godstock Chronicles, I am currently in the middle of book 1. I will probably read this is 2 books in one, Godstock and Dark of the Moon. So far, Godstock, I'm about 100 pages in. It's very enjoyable. Jamie, I think it's Jamie. It's Jame, but I think it's Jamie. But she is like a special race that they're almost all gone. She's like an endangered species of person. And she's in the city, she's trying to make her way, and she decides to become a thief. That's kind of where I've gotten to in this story so far, and it's been enjoyable at this point. So I think it's going to continue to be enjoyable, and I'm excited about it. All right, so next on the TBR was 1632. I did not get around to it, so I'll prioritize it for next month, but I unfortunately didn't get to it. Now, next on the TBR was Sphere. I loved it. It was great. Really enjoyed my time with Sphere. It was a great, great book. It gave it 5 stars. I actually want to see the movie. I don't have it. None of the streaming services are currently doing it. So I'm going to see if the library has it, maybe like a library DVD. And then I had Dune Messiah. I read this one. It was more of a political, like you take all the politics in Dune and you put it in this book. It was basically setting up, I feel like it was setting up for the 3rd book where his kids come in. I remember reading that one way back when. But very philosophical kind of book, and not a ton of court intrigue, but I enjoyed it. Dauntless was the next one, and I am currently reading it, buddy reading it. We'd love for you guys to join in the Discord. You can also just join the Discord to hang out on the Discord, but this is good so far. I'm 6 chapters in, so obviously the chapters are pretty long. I'm about halfway, but it's one of those where I wasn't sure how much I'd enjoy it, and then I find myself really, really enjoying it. And I'm excited to continue with that one. But if you want, I'm the farthest along in it, and so you guys could easily join in and be part of this buddy read. What was that? So I finally read The Wasteland and Other Poems by T.S. Eliot. These poems were interesting. I don't know, kind of the Sound and the Fury in this were the ones that kind of gave me the most wonderment. I'm like, what in the world did I just read, kind of thing. But I found myself enjoying it in enough of the way that I hope somebody does like a read along with this and I can join in and go, yeah, I read that, but I didn't understand it. So hopefully this will be a good one that I can come back to. I mean, this was printed back in 1955, so it's just cool to have, something like this on my bookshelf. So another one that I read was just the short story Sisters out of Dubliners. This is by James Joyce. And I'm going to eventually read all of them, but just the only one I wanted to read this month was Sisters, and I did get around to doing it. I found it very interesting. James Joyce it felt like he used big words to use big words, and I don't know if that's something he commonly does or if it's just this story, but there were like 3 or 4 words that I had to go look up, and generally with a short story I haven't run into that. But it was an interesting piece, and then I watched Codex Cantina's video on it, and I'll link them in their video down below, but I watched their video on it and I was interested, so I picked this up when I saw it at a Goodwill. They had like 15 of them. I think maybe a school was getting rid of some books or something like that, and ended up reading it and was curious about it. There were some things I didn't get, and then I watched the video again and I was like, okay, that makes even a little bit more sense. So it's good to have friends that are a bit more better at breaking down literary fiction, and were able to help me with that. But it wasn't a long story, maybe 10-15 pages, and so got through it fairly quickly. Read it in one day. It was a fun story, I guess. So Red Rising, I never did get to it, so it'll be on the TBR for next month. Usually what I do for the stuff I didn't make from last month, I'll try to prioritize after buddy reads. So I'll do buddy reads as my main focus, and then I'll do this one after. So once I get through buddy reads, I'll prioritize Red Rising. I've heard it's good, and it's not that long, so it'll be fun to knock out, I hope. The Drawing of the Three, I'm really getting into. I found these illustrated versions, which I've heard are very, very rare, but reading and listening to this on the audiobook as well, the narrator's great, and I'm really, really having a good time with this one. Such a tone shift from Gunslinger to The Drawing of the Three that I feel like Stephen King, you can literally see how much better of a writer he was from one book to the next. And I'm assuming he probably wrote 15 or 20 books between the two, because he writes so many books so fast. But this is so great so far. I think I'm 40%, is what the audiobook is telling me. I'm 40% through, and really, really enjoying this one. It'll be an early finish for next month. Another one that I did not finish, I started it, I read probably almost the first chapter, is Magpie Coffin. This is a splatter western. It's been going around quite a bit, and a lot of people have seemed to really, really enjoy it, and I'm glad to be able to finally get to it. So I'm having fun with it. I'm for sure, and I'm excited to go ahead and finish it. So I had The Portable Faulkner on my list. Didn't end up reading any stories out of it, and took it back to the library. So didn't actually read that one at all. Consider Phoebus, I did finish. I wanted to get into Ian M. Banks' Culture series. Moid Moyhoff was doing a buddy read kind of for his YouTube channel. He does the Media Death Cult YouTube channel, and he's reading it with a bunch of people, and I didn't love it. You probably could have cut out 200 pages of this book and you would have gotten the same story. It just had a bunch of time wasting, I feel like. But I've heard book 2 is really, really good, so I don't plan on not reading any more in the series, but I don't plan on reading any of it soon. Welcome to the Jungle is the technical first book in the Dresden Files series. It is a graphic novel that is set before everything else, and I borrowed that through Hoopla, and I read that, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I enjoy graphic novels, so it was right down my alley, and I enjoyed the Dresden Files, so that was really great. Really late add to my TBR was Blood Rights, and I'm also 1 chapter into this one. I kind of did this weird thing this month where I read a ton of books just a little bit and kind of bounced around. So I'm going to have a huge focus on finishing books next month and really getting my currently reading list way down. I can probably finish 2 or 3 of those short stories and graphic novels tonight or tomorrow, and then work on the books. And then I started Malice on audiobook, and I realized I need a physical copy of this for it to make sense. So I'm trying to order one at a reasonable price, and if I can't find one at a reasonable price, I'm going to try to do the interlibrary loaning system and try to get that to me as soon as I can. And then I'll go ahead and finish on Malice. But initially, just they're introduced to a ton of characters, and I couldn't keep it all straight with the audiobook. So I want to just have the physical copy so I can kind of keep my head straight a little bit. And then the last book that I had on the TBR that, wasn't like a moo read edition or anything like that was The Howling Dark. It is book 2 in the Sun Eater trilogy. It is right after Empire of Silence. It so far is very, very good. They're about 45 years after where we left off on them. So very soon I will do an in-depth review of Empire of Silence. So that when I finish this one, I can do a in-depth review. Like basically they're going to be all spoiler-filled reviews from this point on, because once you do a spoiler-free review of book 1, everything else has spoilers in it, right? Because I mean, you're moving on from a story that's already being told. So I will do a review on that when I get done. But I'm about 30% into that. It's one of the 2 audiobooks I'm listening to right now. And then one that I am super, super excited about, I finished this in about 5 days, Words of Radiance, one of the best books that I've ever read. I actually did a live stream yesterday, which is Sunday, on the Geek on My Sleeve channel. I'll link that down below if you guys want to check out that live stream. We went full spoilers on that one. I was reading this initially for the reread that they're doing over at Storm Along 2020 with Christy Lewis, Michael Knibb, Victoria the Musical Bookworm, and Seeking Stories, Ryan and his wife Kristen. And I loved it. I just couldn't put it down. I'm really excited to get to Oathbringer. I might start that early. That might be one of those that I throw in there that I'm just like, I can't wait any longer, and get into Oathbringer. I might read Edge Dancer as well. I don't know. That's the short story that's kind of between the 2 stories. And that is also in the Arcanium Unbounded, which I haven't read yet. It's one of the stories that I've read before, but I haven't reread it. I also did The Emperor's Soul and did a dedicated review on that one because I enjoyed it so much. If you want to check that, I'll put it in the cards and down below as well. But yeah, this is a fantastic book. I actually bought this just so I could reference maps and pictures. They did such beautiful artwork on some of these things. Just really building out the world. And so I wanted a physical copy. I had it in my Kindle copy, but you can't really find it as easily. So you can put like a note in here and be like, oh, this is a illustration for this or an illustration for that. Maps and stuff. It's so much easier to find in a physical copy. But I read on my Kindle quite a bit. So I've read this book probably 3 times on my Kindle and have loved it every single time. Okay, and then I added a couple things. Number 1 was Firewalkers by Adrian Tchaikovsky. That was a holdover from last month. Got it done. The Color of Compromise. That is a nonfiction book about Christian complacency towards racism. Basically, it's saying that the Protestant church in America right now basically has a we pretend we don't see it kind of method, and will allow these things to happen because we just want to focus on saving souls and not on helping the people that currently are Christians that are black and having issues and things like that. Really powerful stuff. I was very deeply affected about some of the history on how the Christian church allowed things that I hope we never allow ever again. And I would love to maybe do a study at my church about this book. I found it very, very enjoyable. If you're a Christian or a non-Christian, you should give this book a shot. It's not one that I hear a lot of people talking about when everything kind of fired back up this year with the death of George Floyd and with the resurgence of Black Lives Matter. I think that this is a powerful book that's really, 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 really good. As a Christian, I think you'll get more out of it, but I think non-Christians also can get something out of it as well. Great points in here that I really, really enjoyed. So we did Faulkner in August. We did The Sound and the Fury. I know I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I didn't hold it up because I took the physical copy back to the library. And it is clearly one of a very enjoyable set of books from William Faulkner. It is hard. It is tough. It is a book that I would suggest you read with some people so you can bounce ideas off people, because that really helped me quite a bit. All the guys for Faulkner 2020, there's a playlist. I'll try to find it and play it for you guys, because it was a very enjoyable read, and it was so much more enjoyable because a lot of people helped me understand this book, and that was very, very helpful. Me and my son were listening to The Trials of Apollo. This is by Rick Riordan. This is basically the second series that he did after the Percy Jackson series. Percy Jackson's in it for a little bit, but my son got it on his tablet and was like, oh, well, I don't need to listen to it with you anymore, Dad. I was like, well, I want to know what happens. So I finished listening to it, and I enjoyed it. The one problem I had with it was really that you have to know what happened in the first series. There was a couple times that I was like, well, I don't know what they're talking about here, because I haven't read Percy Jackson yet. But I will probably listen to Percy Jackson very soon. So those are everything that I went over. Total, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books. and I have about 5 or 6 books that are still sort of kind of in limbo that I'd like to get around and finish reading. But I am very excited for next month where I can finish a bunch of those books and get started on the next books. So let's go into my September TBR. A lot of buddy reads here, and I'm really excited to get into those. Let's start with the first one of the month, starts September 1st. That is going to be Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, if my Russian is any good there. But there's a huge buddy read going on for this one. Big Voxer group that is super. There's a big Voxer group and they're super chatty, and I'm really, really excited about sharing that with you guys. And I'm hoping that we can get a ton of people in there. I think there's over 20 people in there right now, and we'd love to have more. So there's a list on Spenelli Speaks' channel, Dani. She's got the whole schedule. I think she's the main person that's running it. And then there's a couple other people that are helping her. And I'm excited because I've never read these stories before. I enjoy Russian literature, the few ones that I've read, and I'd love to get into it some more. So the next buddy read we're doing the Redwall series. Made Between the Pages and the Bearded Bookworm, I think, are really headlining this and kind of spearheading it, and I'm really excited. I love this series when I was 15, 16 and read a bunch of them, and then I found a bunch of them at Goodwill, so I'm stocked up, ready to go. And these are super fun. You can get them really quickly. I don't think they're middle grade. I think they're more of like a YA, but I still really, really enjoy them. They're clean, fun fantasy that where all the animals act like people, and I actually tend to like that quite a bit. And then this one, Valis, starts up, this is Philip K. Dick. This is the start of a trilogy, and me and Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics are going to do this one together starting September 14th. If anybody wants to join us and you want to get into Philip K. Dick, this is not too long, and I think from what I've heard, it is one of his best. So I'm really excited to have some people join us in this. And then another one that I don't have the physical book, I got this on ebook from my library, but a group of us are doing the Ted Chiang stories. We kind of all read Paper Menagerie by Ted Chiang, which is his short story. And then, so he's got a group of short stories called Stories of Your Life and Other Stories. I believe that's what it's called. I'll put up a picture that I have, but I have it on my Kindle, and I'm going to read it on my Kindle very quickly going into the month with those guys. It was a lot of fun last time we read a book together. We read The Memory Police, and I honestly had more fun talking about the book than I did actually reading the book. But yeah, I'm excited for that as well. All right, so this one is The Shadows of What Was Lost by James Islington, and the back cover is what got me. I was walking through the library, and I've kind of wanted to pick this one up because the cover was so good, and I've heard some good things about it. But it says, "Love the Wheel of Time? This is about to become your new favorite series." Okay, I'm a huge Wheel of Time fan, and you want to lead off with that. Let's. That was by Barnes & Noble, science fiction fantasy blog. So we'll see if they're right. But I have heard good things about this. Monique, the book nerdy, talked about it, and she flew right through these from what I heard. So they're supposedly very easy reads, and I'm excited. Maybe I can get this one done. It's a big book. May not get it all the way done this month, and I'm not prioritizing it because my library has it, and it was just on the shelf, so I don't think a whole bunch of people are checking it out, but I really want to get to it. All right, so again, Blood Rights, Dresden Files. That actually puts me a full month behind on the read-along that Nichi from I Read Past My Bedtime set up. But I don't think I'm the only one that's behind, so I think I'm doing pretty well. I missed a month. Maybe I can read this one and get it knocked out. And maybe read 2 in October, you know, kind of scary, spooky ghost stories. So maybe it'll be a good read to catch up in October. Again, want to finish Godstalk, book 1 in this series, and then I'm probably going to send it back to the library and wait to read Dark of the Moon. Even though I'm enjoying the book, I've got so much else on my plate that it's probably going to take me a little while to get enough free time to read the second book. But she's written about 6 or 7 of these books, and I'm excited. Maybe it'll be a great series that I enjoy reading, and maybe because of me, other people will pick it up. Maybe we could buddy read some of them later on. So again, Malice, I'm waiting on a physical copy until I start reading that one again, because I really just want to have it in my hands to be able to maybe take some notes on where the characters are, who they are, what they're doing, so I can understand it a little bit better. So 1632, putting it back on the TBR for this month. I'm excited to get to it. I'm a big alternate history fan, and I've heard that one's one of the best alternate histories there are. Basically, some people from Germany get brought into the year 2000, and they're trying to deal with the world in that case, and I'm really excited to read that. So that's going to be fun to get to. Again, Magpie Coffin and Red Rising. Go ahead and try to knock these out as well. Both of these I'm really excited to read, and hopefully, because it is a they were from last month's TBR, I will make them a priority. So excited for that as well. And then the library just came through the hold for Percy Jackson Book 1, The Lightning Thief. I've watched the movie and I enjoyed the movie, and I've heard the movie is awful compared to the book. So excited to go ahead and do that one. My son is working on it, but I don't know when he'll ever get finished. But I'm going to try to finish it because I'm excited for it. And then I have 2 books from independent authors that I'd like to get to. Let me pull these up for you. Now, both of these books were sent to me in Kindle format. So the first one that I've got is the Nightling Trilogy by June Chevalier. She just contacted me about this one, and she said that she's got a slightly updated version that she can get to me, so we might try to knock that out. The first book, I'm trying to look for the name on here on what it is. Sometimes ebook formats are hard to find the name because she's got a temporary cover. She hasn't finished the full cover yet, so I will, when I do the review, I'll show you the full cover, and I'll probably update you guys on the Discord and a couple other places. The Nightling Trilogy. I'm not sure what the actual name of the Vile Artistry is the name of the book, and she described it. It sounded really, really cool. I'll put that description in the Discord. I'll look it up, but it was one of the ones I'm really excited about. And then the other one. So this is Note to Self: Myth Reimagined. He is Donald W. Catchings Jr. And I don't have a cover for that one as well, but hopefully this is really good. He contacted me because one of my other BookTube friends was contacted, and she thought that I would really enjoy it. So he messaged me on Twitter and said, "Hey, I heard that you would probably really enjoy my book," and I said, "Yeah, I'd love to give you a chance and try your book out." But it's like a Narcissus tale. So I was always intrigued by that old Greek myth, and this hopefully is a book that I can get to and really enjoy. But I've got both of those on my TBR to read this month. Really want to make more of an effort to read self-published and indie authors that don't have a lot of recognition out there, because I'm getting close to 500 subscribers. If at least 5 people say, "Hey, that sounds interesting," and maybe want to give this guy a shot, or this lady a shot, or whoever, it might help out somebody, and I really want to be part of that. So I'm excited to do that, and I am excited to read this next month. I've got a lot on the list. Probably won't finish, like always. Maybe have 2 or 3 books left, but I am excited to do that. Oh, and I picked up some manga. So I got One Piece 1 and 2, and Bleach 1 and 2. And because I was having so much fun with Berserk, I was like, I'm going to pick these up, and hopefully these are a lot of fun. These are, you could read them in a day, probably all 4 of them. So hopefully knock those out and get them back to the library. Because manga is expensive. Oh my gosh, it's expensive. But if you guys want to subscribe to the channel, I would love that. Discord link in the description. We have a lot of fun over there. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Doesn't have to be book related. I also play video games. We can maybe play some games together. But I also have a Goodreads if you want to check that out. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye. Which is also in the